Hi there, we're going to be looking at Mark chapter 8, verse 1 to 13. Jesus feeds the 4,000. During those days, another large crowd gathered. Since they had nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. If I send them home hungry, they will collapse on the way, because some of them have come a long distance. His disciples answered, But where in this remote place can anyone get enough bread to feed them? How many loaves do you have? Jesus asked. 7, they replied. He told the crowd to sit down on the ground. When he had taken the 7 loaves and given thanks, he broke them and gave them to his disciples to set before the people, and they did so. They had a few small fish as well. He gave thanks for them also and told the disciples to distribute them. The people ate and were satisfied. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. About 4,000 men were present. And having sent them away, he got into the boat with his disciples and went to the region of Dalmanutha. The Pharisees came and began to question Jesus. To test him, they asked him for a sign from heaven. He sighed deeply and said, Why does this generation ask for a miraculous sign? I tell you the truth, no sign will be given to it. Then he left them, got back into the boat, and crossed to the other side. And there's a number of things from this story. It's very similar to the feeding of the 5,000, so I'm not going to necessarily grab the same things from that story, excepting to say that this has already happened before. And so the disciples come to Jesus and they say, Jesus, here's the problem. And I'm sure he just kind of takes a second and looks at them and he's like, remember what we did last time? There were 5,000 people. There's 1,000 less this time. You guys can probably handle this. But he doesn't. He goes through the whole thing. He says, okay, whatever you have, let's start with what you've got and let's add God to that. Let's add the God touch. Let's add the miracle and let's see what happens. And they feed the people. I like the way that the prayer, the grace, I love graces. I get carried away when I start praying. But the grace here is simply saying thanks. So he prays and says thanks, and then they get some fish, so he prays again. And it's really, I think a lot of us get embarrassed by praying in public. I know I kind of bounce between the two, either being totally embarrassed or being totally like, I really want to do this. I don't want it to be a show, but I just really want to be grateful. And this is just simple. It's just a case of God, thank you for this food. Thank you that we have food. It's not a 4-hour long prayer and it's not nothing. So it's just a case of, cool, let's point upwards, let's point Godwards and just thank God. And then the other thing that I wanted to look at is this little piece at the end. The Pharisees come and they want to test him and they say, give us a sign from heaven. Jesus sighs deeply. I like that. It's like, oh, here we go again. What the flip? Really? And just the fact that Jesus got frustrated, Jesus got angry with the Christians, with the religious leaders of the time, like that gives me a lot of hope because I get frustrated and angry as well. I'm sure I frustrate people. But just the fact that Jesus is like, really, and their question is, we want a miraculous sign. And he's like, you're looking at one. I'm your miraculous sign. You're not getting anything else. By the way, I just made 4,000 people get fed using some little kid's lunch again. Miraculous sign. By the way, I just walked across the lake. But they're asking for him to pull out a magic trick. Like, don't heal somebody because there's someone sick. Just do a little trick for us. We just want to prove it. So just do something and make it happen. And I think Jesus is looking at them and he's saying, you're not getting a sign. I am the sign. Just keep watching. You'll see that miracle is about to happen. I'm going to die for no reason of my own, for no guilt. And I'm going to be raised again. And your sin is going to be taken care of. The biggest miracle that is ever going to happen on this planet is about to happen. So just keep watching. And then he leaves them and he gets back into the boat and crosses over to the other side. It's a great story.